right state of readiness. And trust me, we ready.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest, you know him very well, don't you? All the way from the Empire State of New York, former Classic Physique star and champion, soon to be 212 pro champion, George DaBull Peterson III. How are you, George?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Ron. Appreciate it.
Thank you, because this is, as we speak, this won't run for a couple days, but right now we are exactly 2 weeks out from Tampa Pro. Mm-hmm. And you're still you're functional, you're talking, you're upright, you're doing well.
Well, you caught me in a very good day. Today was a high carb day for me, so I have a little life back in me.
If I caught you a couple days ago, maybe not so much, huh?
No, not at all.
Okay. So I solicited some questions on the forum of MD, and I even made up a couple because that's the way I do things. But I'm going to start off with a question I know I've asked you before. But just to refresh people, where did the nickname DaBull come from?
That's a great question. I'm sure a lot of people probably don't know the answer to that. But my nickname DaBull came from when I used to play basketball back in the day. Because the way I used to play, my favorite basketball player of all time is Dennis Rodman. The way he, would just get in the minds of players, and he just won games. And I feel like people don't give him enough credit as he deserves. Especially in a lot of those bull runs that he did, with Jordan and Pippen. But basically, when I was playing basketball, my game was kind of mimicked like him. Like I was a crazy rebounder. I would rebound over guys who were like 6 feet. Nobody could touch me on the boards. Really? And I was very aggressive on the court. And one day, this guy I was playing with, he said, "Yo, you're like a bull," because the way I would like just kind of somewhat bully my way on the court. And so that and then somebody said, "Yeah, that's the bull." And then I just kept that name, DaBull, and and it's been with me since then.
So wow, you were a good basketball player, and were you the same height back then?
I was probably a little shorter.
Wow.
I could jump crazy high. I mean, my body definitely wasn't the same. It didn't have nowhere near as much muscle as I have now. But I could always read where the ball was gonna bounce when it hit the rim. I was like, I just had a sense for it, so that I could always get in the right positions. And I would just jump up there like a torpedo and grab the board, bring it down,
Man, well, okay, everybody, if you don't know, now you know. That's where DaBull came from.
That's right.
Okay, so the first question I got from the forum, I'm sure people ask you about your back every now and then too, don't they? What are your best tips for developing your back? Exercises, number of sets, frequency? What can you tell us about back training in a nutshell that's allowed you to achieve this? I'm going to say I think you have the best back in the sport right now, honest to God.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Unless Phil comes back. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, well, my advice to people as far as how to develop a good back is I always say you want to hit your back at different angles. There's so many different machines and variations you could do different free weight movements. Like, for example, one of my go-to movements are bent over rows. And 1 week I may do overhand bent over rows. The next week I may do underhand bent over rows to more focus on the lower lats. As far as sets are concerned for exercise, I usually like to go for about 5 to 6 sets per exercise. Frequency. I mean, if your back is your strong point like mine, I only hit back once a week. But if it's a weaker body part for you, you can get away with hitting it twice a week. Or one thing I could recommend to people is if you do hit it twice a week, you have 1 week where you go balls to the wall, heavy, and just go all out, and then give yourself at least 3 days before you train it again, and make it a little bit lighter and just really focus on the squeeze. And when speaking on the squeeze, even when you're training really heavy and going all out, the one thing I always tell people to incorporate is when they're on the contraction of every back movement, make sure you expand your chest on the contraction, because that's the way you really can focus on feeling your back muscles, getting the most out of every exercise, no matter what it is. If it's pull downs on the way down, expand your chest. When doing pull downs, don't bring the bar, I say, anywhere past I think your chin is good enough. Bring it down to your chin is fine. Anything below that, I don't think is necessary. Yeah. When you're doing seated cable pulls, when you pull it in, expand your chest. Because even right now, when I'm doing this movement right now, I can feel my back working without even any weight. So imagine how your back's gonna feel when you do put weight on it. So I mean, those are my recommendations.
So last time you trained back, what were the exercises that you did?
I did pull-ups for warm-up. That's another recommendation I always tell people. Don't neglect pull-ups. Pull-ups is still one of the best back exercises there is out there, because you have a lot of guys who can do the whole stack on a pull-down machine, but they could barely do any pull-ups. I feel like that's a problem. Yeah, so just make sure you don't forget your pull-ups. I recommend starting as a warm-up. Warm up with pull-ups, 4 sets. Try to go for 10 to 12 reps, and then you move on to your weighted movements. But so what I did was I did pull-ups, pull downs. I did T-bar rows, seated cable pulls. I did hammer strength rows, rack pulls, and I did close grip pull downs where instead of facing the weight, I'm facing away from the weight.
Yeah.
And I'm leaning my back on the on the actual machine pad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bringing it down to my chest. That I do that for everybody listening out there. That I do that to really focus on the the middle part of the back. Bring out that thickness in like the trap area and everything. Because when you hit that back double bicep, you want that area to really pop. So that's why I focus on that.
So when you face away, or you face with your back to the stack instead of the normal way toward the stack, do you also do it to keep yourself from leaning back so you stay more upright? Because you got that piece of equipment jammed up against your back usually, right?
Right. Well, I actually am leaning back when I do it. So I'll face away from the waist, and I'll literally be, I'll be staring straight at the ceiling.
Okay.
And I'll be bringing the weight right down to my chest. You can only go so heavy when you do that movement because it's very strict. You don't have the pad holding you down. So you probably do 140 pounds with it, 130 pounds. But the most important thing is the squeeze. So that's what I usually kind of finish off with back.
Yeah. How many times a day do you get hit up on social media for back training tips? I'm just curious.
Well, if I could get a nickel for every time I do, I think I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I get it all the time, but it's cool. I try to help out as many people as I can. I usually end up, because a lot of people have kind of the same kind of questions, so I end up usually repeating myself a lot of times. But that's just the way it is. So I try to help out as much as I can, And the people who I do, make recommendations to, and they say they try it, they usually say that they love it, and they felt their back in a way they never felt before. So it seems like it's helping people,
It's very, very generous of you, sir. Okay. Next one is: do you do cardio to maintain condition in the off season? And then how much cardio do you need pre-contest? So off season, how much cardio do you typically do?
Off season, I'll do cardio, let's say 3 times a week, and I only do about maybe 25 to 30 minutes. Low intensity cardio, and that's good for the heart, general health, and so to make sure that kind of keeping my body fat somewhat in check, even so.
I've never seen you out of shape, George, ever. Come on now.
I don't know. Well, you also asked about your pre-contest.
Yeah.
Pre-contest. Pretty much doing cardio almost every day. I would say, realistically, I'm doing it about 5 times a week, and it could be either an hour or an hour and a half a day.
Okay, cool. Next question. Okay, you get ready? This is going to take you a couple minutes. You get incredibly shredded. Very true. Could you please run down a day of eating the way you're doing it now? I don't know if it's any different now than it was when you were competing in Classic, or if you're eating more food now. But today, we're talking on a Saturday night at 7, a little after 7. What have you eaten so far today, and what will you still eat today?
All right. Well, today it was like I told you, today was a high carb day for me. So it's not a typical day for me, but I'll tell you what I did today. And today was a leg day, and that is usually the day that I do have my high carbs around, which is leg day, which I think most people do. So meal 1 would consist of 9 eggs with a cup of raw spinach salad and a bowl of oatmeal. I have about 2 packets and a half of oatmeal. And then this meal 2 will be 7 ounces of chicken breast with a cup of raw spinach salad and a 7-ounce potato. Yeah. Meal 3 was post workout. That was a cheat meal for me. So I had 7-ounce chicken breast, raw spinach salad with pancakes, syrup, and soda.
Nice.
Yeah. So, so that's what that's actually what I've eaten so far. For the rest of the day, I have 3 more meals to go.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I'm on different hours than most people, so my day gets a little later. But I got 3 more meals left, and they're pretty much going to be consistent to the like the first 2. So it's going to be like 7 ounces of tilapia with a cup of raw spinach salad, 7-ounce potato. And one of them one meal may be 7-ounce red meat, like flank steak, with a cup of raw spinach salad and 7-ounce potato, and that'll be it. As far as a typical day is concerned, it's pretty much all the same thing. The only thing that's different is the carbs. Carbs are like completely, almost non-existent. I'll have about only 50 grams of carbs a day, and that'll be right after I work out. So every meal, throughout the day is like either like 7-ounce chicken breast or 7-ounce tilapia with no carbs, just raw spinach salad. I may have a couple of about 3 pills of omega-3s, and we did, and we just came out with our Redcon 1 omega-3s in our basic training series. So I've incorporated that in my diet. But yeah, and then the post-workout meal will be exact same thing, except it'll have like about maybe like 5 ounces of potato, which is pretty much nothing. That'll be the only carbs I have throughout the entire day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you doing like essential aminos or carb powder after the workout, or you go right to real food?
I usually go right to real food. Like when it comes to like pre-contest and really going for that that look that I want for stage. I mean, anybody was going to tell you like food, it should be your number one go-to, and then your supplements would be your add-on to help out the actual intake that you're taking. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
most guys out there are complete opposite. They do all supplements with a couple meals and they think they're doing great. But it's one reason they don't look the way they want to look. One reason for sure.
Right.
Okay, now we're going to get to some fun stuff. A lot of people last year thought you would have been in contention for the 212 Olympia title if you had been up there instead of competing in Classic for the final time. Does that give you extra confidence for 2020, where you will be attempting to beat Kamal, Lunsford, Clarida, and the rest of the top 212 men?
It definitely does, give me some confidence. At first, I'm not sure how confident it really made me just hearing it, because, like I'm not the kind of person that just buys into my own hype. So when people were saying it, I mean, it was flattering. I was appreciating it, but I was saying to myself, I mean, I don't know. We haven't seen it yet. I don't know. Maybe they feel like that, but I don't know if that's really true. But after seeing how I'm looking, getting ready for this first 212 show with the added muscle and with conditioning that looks like it's gonna trump what I did at the Olympia last year.
Wow.
Now I'm very confident, and I believe that what people were saying about me being in 212 is true. Like I feel like I'm definitely can be right up there with Kamal, Lunsford, Clarida, all of them.
Yeah,
sure.
I can tell you the one thing I noticed, biggest difference in your progress pictures over the last few weeks from the ones that I always saw before is you used to lose a lot of leg fullness, a lot of sweep, a lot of fullness in the quads.
Right.
And now it's all there. I was like, wow, we're gonna finally see George's legs the way they're supposed to look on stage. Now he doesn't get that need to get down to 192. Oh,
exactly.
But, yeah.
Because that's a typical thing that would happen with anybody. Like, let's say if you coming down and wait for a show, and as your body starts to get flatten out. Sorry, my phone's ringing. But whenever you start to flatten out, it's always gonna come from your weakest body part first. Right. So if someone has a weak chest, for example, they start to get flat, then their chest goes away. If they have weak, if they have legs that need to come up. Yeah. It's going to come from the legs. So that always happens, So.
Yeah. Well, interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing this package you got for us. Here's a good one. Was it very different prepping for a show when you didn't have to worry about struggling to get down to an unnaturally light body weight for the first time in 4 years, right? That you've been doing
Yeah,
classic?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, since 2016 till 2019. So yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good. So yes, a big difference, Ron. Big difference. I mean, because like the stress factor, like I've said multiple times, that it got to a point where the most stressful part about getting ready for the show was making that weight. Well, not actually doing the show. So it'll be like, once I would actually make weight, it would feel like such a weight has been lifted, and the rest would feel so easy. Like I'm like, okay, they're going on stage and hitting the poses. I mean, that's the easy part. Like, now I made weight. Thank God. Now I can relax. Now I can relax. And that is gone now. You know what I mean? Like me and Justin were talking today, and if I wanted to, I could make weight if I wanted to in 2 days from now if I wanted to. Like, what I mean? Like, so it's not a factor. Now, only thing we have to worry about now is just bringing that look that we want. That's it, and that's gonna happen regardless.
I'm curious, did you always make weight the first time you tried to weigh in? Or were there times where you were like a pound over, a half pound over, and you had to run around the building 20 times?
I actually was fortunate to always make weight every time.
Oh, okay.
Always make weight every time. And I have to really thank Justin Miller for that, because he's a consummate professional. So he always would make sure that I'm on weight. Because Justin, he also had a hand in helping fighters make weight for fights and stuff. So he's pretty good with that. But the difference with that and with him helping like me and other people make weight for a bodybuilding show is that, like, a fighter, you don't really care how they look. They just got to make this weight.
Right.
The complex part about with me and other, say classic guys who got to make weight, you want to make that weight, but you have to try to maintain a look the way you don't lose your muscle. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
it really becomes a complex situation. But he's
Yeah,
good.
because I remember talking to Keon like a month and a half ago about they measured his height wrong the first time he did Tampa a
Mm-hmm.
couple of years ago, and he had to lose 5 pounds or something. And they said you got like an hour at the max to do this, and it ruined his look for the show. He probably would have beat Henri Pierre had he been a lot fuller, but yeah, the
Probably.
way. I mean, yeah, I'm glad you don't have to worry about making weight, dude. That was the 192. It was like Flex Lewis. Every time I'd see Flex Lewis a couple weeks out, every time I'd see a picture of you a couple weeks out, I'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
Not to say you didn't look awesome at your shows, you did, but you can't have the same pop, the same fullness when you're
Right.
intentionally losing muscle to get to a weight that your body does not want to go to.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
192, 212, it's a 20-pound difference you got to play with. Man.
Right. Yeah. I know. But big, much better.
Final question. How was your prep affected by quarantine? Because anybody who's prepping now, this was the first time they had to prep through a quarantine, obviously.
Right.
What were the major differences? Clearly, training, you couldn't train at your favorite gym. What in what ways was this prep different because of this whole COVID situation?
I mean, the major difference for me was trying to figure out how I was going to be able to continue on with my training the way I needed to train in order to get ready for the show. Because I mean, like at first when the whole quarantine thing happened and they shut down the gyms, in the beginning I was working out at home, and and I have a few weights here at home, and I was just compromising with doing a lot of time under tension training, very slow movements with lighter weights to try to give my muscles what they the same kind of effect they would if I was lifting heavier weights. And it was effective up to a point. But then I've been fortunate enough to be able to still train over at Justin's house from time to time, get some good training sessions in there. But I mean, that's been the hardest part. When the gyms closed, because I was training at Bev's, that's my home gym.
Yeah.
And when that was taken away, that was a major part of the prep taken away from me. So it was like I had to go into survival mode and just figure out what to do. As far as food is concerned, really didn't like when the supermarkets were getting like raided at first.
Yeah.
Fortunate enough, that didn't affect me because one, like I'm with Mega Fit Meals, so I get meals sent to me every
Nice.
week. And as far as and at that point, when I was as far as my supplements are concerned, you already know Redcon One, they got me covered. So I would have my isotope protein powder to get my extra protein in, my bleach aminos, everything. So none of that was affected. The biggest thing that was affected was the gym and working out. And but I've been able to stay afloat. Thankfully, just had to stay positive. And like I said, thankfully I had Justin be able to let me train. I also have a friend who let me train at their place, from time to time. So between going back and forth, from Justin and my friend, I've been able to get things done.
Because how far is Justin's place from where you are, drive-wise?
He's about, I would say, 45 minutes away.
That's not too bad. And I've heard Justin has a pretty sweet setup. Does he? For a home gym?
Very good setup. Very, very good setup, because he used to own a gym himself, and when his gym closed down, he most of his equipment he took to his house, and he has his whole garage is set up as like a little gym. He has a leg press in there, some back equipment, everything, dumbbells and everything, and also in his actual house, he has his. It's funny, like you go into the living room, the place where you would normally see like a couch, you see a leg extension, and you see a leg curl.
Oh my God.
So it's like, so he's loaded, and he has a very good, there's another section of his house, where, we do most of our posing and everything, because he has really good light in there, and he has some more back equipment, a vertical leg press in there, so he has a lot of stuff.
Jeez, wow. Okay. I'd like to live in that house, especially if the gyms are all closed, because you're in New York, and I have not heard a thing about gyms opening up in your state. Have you?
No, I mean, it was supposed to be part of phase 4, which but they, Governor Cuomo, he changed it where now like malls, gyms, I think movie theaters, they're not part of phase 4 anymore, and now it's kind of like to be announced, like nobody knows anything. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So
what phase are you guys on now? 3?
I think we're on 3 right now. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, I think so. But it's crazy. We're supposed to have been open. I really hope that they do open them up soon, and not just for, say, like my benefit of being able to train and other guys train, but the gym owners. You know what I'm saying? Like, the business owners. They're hurting because of this. So let them do business. I mean, even if you gotta mandate like a certain amount of people, I don't know, in the gym at a certain time.
Yeah.
Whatever. Just let them do business.
Yeah, because we opened up July 6th in Massachusetts, and so far so good. You got to wear. There's policies differ, but like my gym, you got to wear a mask unless you're at your machine or station. Then you can take your mask off. You're supposed to wipe everything down, this and that. But everyone's following the rules. Everyone's keeping their social distance, and knock on wood. Hopefully we don't get. I don't think it's going to get shut down, but I feel for you guys in New York, New Jersey. I think Pennsylvania gyms are open. I think it's just New York and New Jersey. I think you're the last 2 states.
Yeah, I think it's New York and Jersey. I think so. Yep.
And the Florida governor, where they had a news story where he said, "I don't see any reason why gyms should be closed." I'm like, man, I like this guy. I like this guy a lot.
But now Florida is under fire because they aren't they like have some of the highest numbers now?
Yeah.
It's kind of. I don't know. I really don't know what to think of the whole situation, because it's as odd as it is. When we was having like the protests and everything here in New York, it was so many people out there all together, close, but yet we didn't have any spike because of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it kind of makes you wonder. Okay, well, how? You know what I mean? Like, so if we didn't get a spike from that, then how, would we get a spike if they was open up gyms again and just have to? I don't know.
I don't think from gyms. The only things I keep hearing that have opened up are bars and clubs have led to big spikes, but that makes sense because people get drunk and they're like in each other's faces. Especially me, I'm hard of hearing. I'm screaming at people and they're shoving my ear up against their mouth. So that's That's probably not the best situation for germs.
Something. It'll also be a little odd to have a bar open and let's say if they have a mandate where in public you have to wear a mask. Well, how can you sit at a bar and drink a beer wearing a mask? Everybody, they gotta.
Not only that, for these single folks out there, they might be going home with someone who's butt ugly and not know it until it's too late.
Exactly.
I had to say it.
Take that mask off. Well, that's a whole nother story.
Well, it's like when you see them in the light and you're not drunk anymore, like, oh no, damn,
Yeah,
what have I
yeah.
done? But yeah, are you nervous at all about going to Florida?
No, I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous. I mean, I remember when we did our first interview after the whole COVID-19 thing hit, and I remember I told you like I'm a firm believer that like you can't control certain things.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be as cautious as you want. Of course, you want to be smart as you can, take the necessary precautions, but you have to live your life. Look, if it was in my destiny and my cards to get COVID-19, God forbid, but that means I could sit here in my house by myself, nobody around, and I would still catch it because it's in my cards. That's just, it's in my path.
How would you get it? That doesn't make any sense. How
Well,
would you get it though?
that's my point. I mean, like, that's my whole point. Like, so if it's not in my plan, if it's not in my life plan, like, I'm a firm believer in God. Like, so if it's not in my plan to catch this thing, then I can go to Florida and I can come back fine. And of course, I'm going to go there still masked up and take the precautions. I'm not saying just, go out and be stupid. I'm just saying, you got to live your life. You can't, just stop functioning. We got things to do. You have things to do. I have things to do. We just have to go with it,
I'll be there and I know you'll be there. So that's all that matters.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Everybody, want you guys to remember that is happening July 31st and August 1st, Tampa, Florida, the Tampa Pro. Very, very excited. Everyone's excited to see the 212 debut. We thought we were going to have to wait till the New York Pro, but you pulled it out for us. You're going to hit us up in Tampa. Thank you, George. We appreciate that.
Hey, it's my pleasure. And thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Cool. Well, thank you for taking the time. Guys, we're going to let you know George is going to be starting a new column in MD in the September issue. We decided a good title is The Bullpen. Yeah.
Yes,
so look forward to that. And yeah, check out our coverage of Tampa Pro in less than 2 weeks' time, because this man is going to be the one to watch. So we're hearing a lot of buzz. People are really excited to see you at that show, George. You know that. So.
Yeah, I know. But trust me, Ron. I'm not gonna let any of you guys down. I'm gonna bring my absolute best to that show, and I'll give you guys a great show. So all the hype and everything like that, it's not gonna be in vain. I'm gonna make sure that the best George P steps out on that stage.
I mean, between your determination, work ethic, and Justin Miller, I'm not worried. Yeah, I know you guys are going to bring something spectacular. So
big shout out to Redcon One for always supporting me from from pretty much day one. Aaron, my boy Rudy, everybody, they just been super supportive, and I can't wait to link up with a lot of them down when I go down to Florida too, because we're home base down in Florida.
Yeah. Are you gonna head up to Boca when you're down there to train there?
I mean, if I can, I definitely will. I'm gonna see. I mean, I'm gonna be in touch with Aaron and Rudy and everything, and see if they. I would assume that maybe they might be at the show. I don't know.
They usually are. Yeah.
Right.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Florida's a big state. I think they're like an hour away. I want to say.
Right.
Something like that. Cool. Yep. Well, all right, man. I'll let you get to it. I'm glad it's a high carb day. We had a good conversation. Next time I see you, you'll be skeleton face and game on. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for taking the time, George. We appreciate it very much. Looking forward to seeing you. And everybody, thanks for watching this. We appreciate your viewership, and we'll see you next time.